Hello, I'm Andrew and welcome to the video. This is alpha footage of our open world survival game Planetation, and we're just going to play through the tutorial and I'm going to talk over the top of it and give you a little bit of extra detail. So we've landed here on Old Gal's farm, in a bullet shaped drop pod of course. She lives on a frontier planet called Perdition, which is in the middle of nowhere in space. It's about as far from civilization as you can get, and it's incredibly inhospitable and dangerous just living here. She does it anyway because she's nothing if not stubborn. Every night she gets attacked by the denizens of the dark, which are basically these horribly corrupted, mutated creatures of the night. And by day she does her best to eke out a living on her farm, so she can stay here and keep searching for her long-lost husband, Old Fella, who was taken in one of the early nighttime attacks when they first moved here. So we've just helped burn out all of the thornweed infestation on her farm. Of course, using a flamethrower, there's a lot of that theme of over-the-top crossover between Wild West setting and sci-fi technology in this game. And yeah, we've just burnt that out with a flamethrower. We're out now searching for some materials with which to make a shelter. So I should point out one of the I guess unique properties of this planet, and one of the core features, like core focuses of the game, is that you can basically grow anything on this planet. It's why Old Gal and Old Fella were here, and it's like I said, a core feature of the game. So at the moment we're collecting wood and stone, but eventually you'll be able to grow wood. Obviously that's an easy one, but you'll be growing things like your metals. You'll be growing iron. You'll be growing concrete. You'll be growing stuff that you wouldn't normally expect to grow, because farming is a major part of the gameplay. So this is all procedurally generated. We're currently in the outback biome, which, as I'm sure you can tell, is heavily influenced by the Australian outback, with a touch of the American Wild West thrown in here and there. There is another biome, you'll see that later, called the Mesa, which is much more heavily influenced by American wilderness. It's just American mesas. It's, like I said, all procedurally generated. They're both scorched, barren landscapes, very, very dry, because water management is a core gameplay element. You need to place bores and extract water, pipeline it back to your farm just to keep your crops growing. And yeah, it's very hot out here. It's like I said, scorched dry. You can see the creeks there, barely have any water in them at all. They do lead, if you follow them, to more kind of lush areas. They lead to an underground mushroom cave, which is a bit damp, full of mushrooms that you can harvest. You can collect explosive mushrooms there called nitro, which you can use to make things like biodiesel and stuff like that. It also leads to a billabong, which is an open, kind of just wet source of water. But yeah, I don't think we get to a billabong, at least in this video. Now that we're back on the farm, we're going to build our shelter. So we've got our draft route that lets us build things. We've spent a fair bit of time tweaking and polishing this system to try and make it approachable and user-friendly, because we find that a lot of other survival games tend to just give you the power. They just give you the ability to build ridiculous, insane structures, which is amazing, lots of fun to do, but you also need that element of approachability and user-friendliness, because the actual building needs to be fun, not just the end product, which is again what we've spent a fair bit of time trying to achieve here. So yeah, we're just going to build a little house here just to keep us safe at night. We have a couple of pellets, so we've built the walls out of brick. That's a staple of survival games. Every survival game has brick, so obviously our survival game has brick. We also have corrugated sheet metal as another pellet that we're building the roof out of here. That's just iconic in the Australian outback, and we definitely felt it had to make its way into our game as well. The third pallet is just glass, so you can make windows and stuff like that at the moment, and there's obviously going to be plenty more pallets to come. We want this to be a very customizable experience for people. So we barely beat the sun going down. We're going to make ourselves a little window and watch the sunset. Wish we had have taken a screenshot here, but I'm sure we'll take plenty more screenshots in a moment. So now that we've built our structure, it's time to go find some water. We're using the diviner here to scan for groundwater deposits, because there's no water on the surface, or at least not enough water on the surface. So yeah, we're going to find a groundwater deposit here. That's the dense blue, and we're going to build a bore here. That's going to drill into the ground and let us pipeline water back to our farm. So we've placed that bore in draft mode, You can also build in draft mode with that drafter earlier, that construction tool. Draft mode is basically like place now, plan now, build later. So you place it, we just placed our bore, and now we're off to get the rest of the materials that we need to actually finish it off. We want those major structures like the bore to be drafts, because we want people, it's a multiplayer game, we want people to cooperate in building them. We want people to raise a barn together. So someone places the barn, then you all go out, get the materials for it, you come back, you build it as a team. That's a big focus for us in this game. So we've found a mesa here. The reason that we're in the mesa is we want some quartz dust to finish off the bore, and that only spawns in the mesa. So we'll find that in a moment. But I want to talk a little bit about nighttime. So since it's a playable, there isn't actually any combat in it yet, no actual enemies, so we're safe going out at nighttime right now. But you can see it's quite tense and quite, not necessarily claustrophobic, but definitely more on edge than the daytime look and feel. So that's because night is meant to be very dangerous. You're not usually meant to leave your farm. You're meant to, as I mentioned earlier, get attacked by the denizens of the dark every night. You're meant to be fighting for your life. Day is meant to be working on your farm, farming, relaxing, preparing for night, and then night is when you get hit. Night is when, the day-night cycle of survival games gets cranked up to 11 in our game. So we found a quartz crystal here, a quartz spire, I should actually say. Basically, it's just this big shard of quartz that has erupted from the ground, and it's just secreting these quartz crystals over time. A couple have grown on the surface now, so we're going to smash them and harvest their quartz and get some quartz dust. So quartz dust in Planetation is basically a silicon replacement. If you're used to silicon from other survival games, that's exactly what it does. It is used for electrical components, it's used for glass. It's a little bit more advanced than stone and wood, but it's still one of your core basic materials. So we've got a sunrise coming, we're going to take a photo of it. There we go. So you might see down the bottom there's a button to send it to Discord. You'll see we'll take another photo in a moment. That's another important feature to us. We want people to be able to find cool vistas and find like quirky generations, and not necessarily buggy generations, but just unique, like just special, something that only they can see, that only they might have found, and then to remember it and share it. Save a screenshot out on their own computer, upload it if they choose to the Discord for everyone else to enjoy it. And we definitely want to double down on that discovery and that feeling of finding something special. Kind of like we're walking through this area now. I actually quite like that generation. It's one of my favorite bits of the video. Anyway, sorry. So we're going back to the farm. The sun's still rising, of course. We're going back to the farm to finish building our bore. We have all of the materials now for it. We have just enough quartz dust. That was a work in progress mushroom biome you just saw through that hole there. And there's our bore. So we're just going to complete it, and that brings us to the end of alpha gameplay. There we go. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy playing it. The alpha comes out today as I record this. Don't know when you're going to watch it, but thanks for watching.